What's up, Nerf Herders? Hope you're all doing well out there. Today, the Avengers Endgame trailer, hopefully the last one, has dropped, and I just want to share my initial thoughts on this. And really, the best thing about this trailer and the whole marketing with this movie is the fact that they are not giving anything away. This is so tight-lipped and sealed that it's really just showing you the characters you love, giving you some snippets to get you pumped for this movie. And I love that because they don't have to give us anything else. You've got our money, you've got our attention, we're going to be there. So just a couple of things with this trailer, though, that I wanted to kind of talk about and I just share some thoughts on. I thought it was really cool how they had the beginning of this trailer focusing on going back to when Iron Man became Iron Man and when Cap became Cap and, and Thor when he really became into his own. I'm curious if they're showing that, especially if time travel is going to be a big play in this movie, if we're going to see those characters go back and change the course of their own destinies. Maybe Tony goes back and changes Stark Industries before Iron Man becomes a thing, or he chooses not to reveal his identity, or Cap goes back and chooses to live out his years with Peggy, and Thor goes back and shares everything with Loki before Loki becomes vengeful. Just curious if those things will be put into place after they kind of resolve the events of the snap or decimation, if these characters are going to change their past because maybe they realize what they did eventually led to these events too. Be very curious to see what they do with that, or if they do anything at all. But just my initial thoughts as to why they're showing these flashback sequences. Just my curiosity. I wonder if they're going to do that. But I thought that was cool. I love seeing a little bit more of where Hawkeye or Ronan comes into play with Black Widow there. And, kind of grabbing the hand, realizing he's obviously in pain. You got to imagine his family's been dusted, and that's what sends him down this path. And they, of course, show the scene with his daughter, and he's, teaching her how to shoot the bow and arrow there. I really think they're going to play into some of the emotional things. I wouldn't be surprised if this movie opens up where you see the effects of what the decimation had on, these other characters that we haven't seen in a while. So it'd be very interesting to see what they do there. You got Scott Lang kind of wandering around, seeing these missing shots, and he's very confused looking. So obviously he's been in the quantum realm. He's going to find his way out of that there. But has he been bouncing around through time and, just winds up here after everything has happened, confused as all hell? Is this 10 years into the future, 5 years into the future, nothing's been fixed? Maybe he's out looking for his daughter once he realizes what's happened and just, taking in everything that's going on. Be really curious to see if they're going to kind of bring his daughter into the fold, because I really think that the relationship that they've built with them two in, the first two Ant-Man movies, really, the most charming things in those movies. The little girl in that movie did a great job, and I'd be very curious to see if they're going to play into that. I think they will. I think there's going to be a lot of emotional stuff going on in this movie. Especially since they've been building up the whole Pepper Potts relationship with Tony. Not that hasn't been touched on, but they're really pushing that whole thing right now. So I really think there's going to be a lot of emotional elements, and they're going to pull everything. There's no holds barred in this film. The other thing, too, that I loved was seeing Rocket on Rhodey. I thought that was really cool. Just seeing Rocket with this team is going to be really cool, because he's the only Guardian that survived, unless you want to toss Nebula into that fold, but he's really the only Guardian that survived the decimation, and he's only had this relationship with Thor. So to see Rocket, Earthbound, and with the Avengers that we've, all grown to love on Earth and everything, I think is really cool. I think he'll end a helping hand in creating some really badass weaponry, and that might be why he takes a liking to Rhodey, because Rhodey is just full of weaponry. So that'll be super cool. And I love that they're not showing Thanos. They came right out the gates in the Infinity War trailer, gave you Thanos, just boom, he just came through with the Space Stone, and there he was. They really let you focus in on him on that trailer for a second. Got a couple of action pieces with him. So I like that they're keeping that completely off the table here, and they're not giving you any action pieces in this at all. The closest thing we're getting to some action in here is Hawkeye diving away from an explosion, Ant-Man's crawling up a pencil and just kind of leaping out, and then you see Cap strapping on the shield again, of course, but then we get that next snippet where you see he's obviously battle-worn, and I love his expression in this, because he has, this shake to him with that bottom lip, pushing out like that, like the Wolfman, dude. But when he, straps on that shield and he's got that quick little quiver, man, it's almost just like I've been through enough. My body is just tanked right now, and I'm mustering up every last ounce I've got to go back into this battle. I love that, man. Chris Evans is selling it perfectly with that there. And we get to the end of the trailer when they got the new suits, of course. And I've seen people talk about them being space suits and quantum suits. I'm going to go with the fact that I think that these are quantum realm suits, 100%. And the reason I feel like that is because you see Tony and Nebula, of course, in that shot. And Tony has shown that he can go into space in the Iron Man suit. And I know in the first Avengers it kind of went out, but when you go into Infinity War with the nanotech and everything, he is out there in space doing his thing. Pete was obviously out there, when he got the Iron Spider suit and was totally fine. So he's got the tech to be out there in space. So I would think if he's going to, have a space suit, he's going to use an Iron Man suit. So he has his armor and his weaponry. So I'm believing that these are going to be Quantum Realm suits. They show Rhodey, which is interesting because his Quantum Realm suit, of course, is very different than everybody else's. His is built up kind of like what War Machine is. So I don't know if he's got his armor on underneath that suit or what the case might be with that. But I thought that was a little bit interesting. And with all the misdirection that they've done in, Infinity Wars trailers, of course, saying of course a lot here, but all the misdirection that they threw in there with CGIing out stones on the gauntlets, you didn't really know what Thanos had in certain scenes, and we didn't know if he was even going to collect them all going into that. Very smart marketing, very misleading. They might be doing the same thing with Cap's beard and, Black Widow's hair. Black Widow we've seen with the short white hair that we had gotten in Infinity War. Now we're seeing that it's grown out a bit, so we got the red and the white. There's been snippets of Cap with his beard, without his beard, and this is going to the Captain Marvel post-credit sequence and such. So there's a lot kind of going on with this here, and there might be a lot of misleading things, which is smart because all we can really do is, get hyped about what we've got, and they might give us something entirely different. There's scenes in the Infinity War trailer that didn't even make it into the movie, and that could be a lot of this stuff too. So again, super pumped for this. Cannot wait for this movie. Those are just a couple initial first thoughts that I've got with everything here. And yeah, man, just can't wait for this. April 26th or the 25th, if you're going on Thursday, Avengers Endgame will be here. Oh, and the post-credit scene of the trailer, too. I totally forgot about that. When Captain Marvel is standing there and Thor, brings in Stormbreaker. Kind of a cute little moment. I really hope the Russos do something a little bit different with Captain Marvel because I did not care for her all that much in the movie. She was fine for what it was, but I want to see what the Russos can do with getting her hands on it. It's almost with the same thing with Doctor Strange and Infinity War. Doctor Strange, awesome, but the Russos totally elevated that character, and I feel they've done that with everybody, especially Spider-Man too. We've totally seen an elevated Spider-Man between Civil War and Infinity War, much more so than I think what we got in his own movie with Homecoming. So I hope they do something to elevate that character, and once we get her into the fold with the established characters, I really hope she kind of melds in. And in that moment, Chris Hemsworth sold it off great with the little smirk and just saying, yeah, I like this one. I really hope she melds in good. That scene gives me a little bit of hope for that too, especially with not feeling too hopeful after Captain Marvel. So that's my thoughts though, guys. If you're new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you all next time.